Hello everyone, welcome from the Sunshine Coast where it is anything but sunny. We've been getting an incredible amount of rain these days. Now you will have received your midterm exams back and you will have had a chance to look at the answer keys. What I'd like to do in this video, and it's going to be very short, is just to review it very quickly, not spend a lot of time on it because it's old news. The final exam will not be cumulative, so this information, with the exception of vicarious liability, and signature lines will not be on the final exam. So, but you want to know how you did in comparison to others and things like that. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to go through your exam papers and add up the marks. If you got a stroke, then that's a 1 mark. If you got a stroke in a circle, that means I don't think you got it quite right, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But you know me in math, so you add up, and if there's an addition error, let me know. You just highlight it in yellow and email it to me. Now, if you're looking at a question and you think you deserve more marks, please look at the answer key, because on this exam in question 1 I got a lot of political science answers. The law is not a static thing, so you Google it and you cut and paste and gave me some garbage. Look at what was expected. Look at the answer key. The other thing about the answer key is sometimes when I'm adding it up, for example, on this particular one, there's question 1, there is 2 ticks, and that was 2 marks each, and then there was a half and a half, and that equals 5. Okay, so you don't get 5 plus half and a half for 6. All right, so just work it out yourself. Another example of that is question. How do I do this? Question 3, where I have put 1, 1, 1, 1. That means 4, right? But at the bottom, I've given you 4. So don't say, oh, I got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You didn't give me the marks, because obviously the question's only worth 5 marks. So check those out before you send them to me. But please, if you think you deserve more marks, go for it. There were 12 A's, 13 B's, 18 C's, 18 D's, and 13 F's. Okay. Now, I'm not worried about you if you got 50 or above. Okay, and I'm not worried about that for a number of reasons. And the first one is that the material in the first part of the course is completely new and novel. Our legal system, alternate dispute resolutions, the 3 major legal systems in the world, the elements of a contract, these things are new to you. When we get into the second half of the course, we're talking about sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations, intellectual property, things that you're more familiar with. So I think you should be able to do better on the final. The other reason I'm worried about you, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, but the very first time I wrote a law exam, I got 53 out of 100. Yeah, and I went on to become a lawyer. What happened? Well, I opened up the exam and I went, whoa, wait a minute, like, he doesn't expect me to sort of Google stuff and download crap from the internet. He actually expects answers to specific questions. And so I did really quite poorly. I went on to get a first-class mark in the course, though, okay, because I suddenly went, okay, I have to apply myself. And there's a lot of you that are going to have to apply yourself, all right? Okay, and on the final exam, I think Part C, the other reason is Part C will be fill in the blanks, sort of like question 2 or question 3 on the midterm. But that does not mean you should not worry. Okay, I'm not worried about you, but you might be want to worry about you. Now, if you got less than 50, I've put on your exam paper, please come and see me in a Zoom session. I actually don't want to see you. Okay, but what I mean is I don't want to just say, hi, how are you? And say, what are you going to do on the final? And you're going to say, oh, I'm going to study harder. That's a wish list, okay? You plan to study hard for the midterm and it didn't happen. So you Googled and that lost you a lot of marks. So I want you to set up a Zoom with me and I want you to tell me what you plan to do in order to do better on the exam, okay? Now, if you don't care, don't set up a Zoom, all right? But if you want to talk to me, then I'll work with you as well as I can. Now, I'm also not terribly sympathetic, okay? Because if you don't put in the work, you don't get the grade, okay? Only a few of you actually did the questions at the end of the chapters, even though I said you should do that. Now, I'm not your mother, okay? I'm not going to tell you to clean up your room and to put that into context. I'm not your instructor, and I'm not going to force you to do those questions. You're in university. Either do the work and you pass, or you don't do the work and you suffer the grade. Okay, it's up to you because you're adults. The turnout for the exam review session for the online courses was really quite poor. Okay, I think one of my online sections I had 18 out of 28. Well, those other 10 people, how do you expect to do well if you don't even come to the review session? Now I recorded them and I sent out the recording, and obviously a lot of you didn't even bother looking at it anyway. Now there is this thing called a pen, and this is a lost art. This is technology that is, oh my God, I actually have to do something. I just don't go on my computer. I actually have to think. Had you taken notes during the term, you would have done better. But I don't know about the online class because I can't see you. You all put your video off and you go off and have coffee or whatever, or you sit there and you listen to me, but you don't take notes. Okay, you've got to take notes. And I'll give you a perfect example. During the review session for all three of my sections, all four of my sections, I was very specific about question 1 and part B. And I actually talked about how the law is not a static thing and gave examples to each one of you. Very few of you took notes. So when it came time to the exam, you thought, oh, gee, I don't know what that's about. Well, I'll Google something about, the law is not a static thing and precedent and all that stuff, and I'll get lots of marks, nothing to worry about. No, I was looking for specific answers. So question 1 and part B, the answers were pathetic. What that meant was that, not like other exams in the past, part B, a lot of people did poorly. Part C, a lot of people did really well, which is really different. And the reason for that, so don't get yourself all excited that, hey, I did really well. Part C was out of 40 marks, and after I drafted the exam and gave it to you, I did my answer key, and I went, whoa, there were potentially 55 marks there. So you could fly through there and get 33, 35, 38, and still have missed a lot of legal stuff. Okay, so the other reason I'm not very sympathetic, hey, there's a new app out. This is really cool. See this thing called a phone? I can just take a picture of the question and look, and there it is on the internet. Son of a gun. Look, 5 answers. Okay, I'll just type those in. All wrong. Okay? Stop and think about it. The guy that does that and puts it up there is trying to make some money. It doesn't mean he did an A or got an A in the course. Obviously, the guy that put those on the internet got an F in the course because the questions were all wrong. So if you did question 3, it was totally wrong. Okay? If you did question 2, you might have gotten half the marks. All right? So, hey, he said I couldn't Google it, but he didn't say I couldn't take pictures of it on the phone. Get with the program, people. Okay? Learn things. That doesn't teach you anything. And then the other reason I'm not very sympathetic, question 4 was as easy as pie. Okay? Negligence. Duty. I owe you a duty, I breached the duty, and I caused you damages. There was 3 marks right there. And then the on the very next slide, slide 74, was the 5 defenses to negligence. And I can't believe people just passed it up. And then question 8 on the Trump article, I gave everybody that article. They did not down how it was relevant, and there it is on the exam, and nobody knows. Only a couple of people did it. It was the easiest one of the lot. So, like I said, I'm not terribly sympathetic. Anyway, question 1. Everyone did really well. I don't know if you could do the photocopy and or the iPhone thing, but you did really well, and generally you do. Anyway, so question part A, part C, done really well. Part B, not so well. But I think the ones that failed the course or failed the exam are the ones that just thought, open book. Let's just go with it. How hard can it be? Now you know. So let's get ready for the final. Let's see. Okay. Gosh, that isn't very long. I'm trying to think of what else I should talk about. So let me just grab it. Okay, I am just going to pause, and then I want to quickly go through Part C because you're going to have that information. Okay, I've got my Part C up in the screen. In the first paragraph, there's a waiver of liability, but there's no issue with respect to it. Okay, so people present a waiver of liability, a contractual defense, but it doesn't pertain to the first part. Okay, it comes in later. Standard form contract. People put standard form contract on a take it or leave it basis. That's not the principle. The principle is what was done at the time the contract came into existence to bring the owner's term and condition to the attention of the contracting party. There was a capacity issue. A lot of people said minors cannot enter contracts. No, they can. As if it's for non-necessary in life, that contract is enforceable by them against the other side, but not by the other side against them. And then the parents sign the waiver on behalf of the children. Cannot do that. The Infants Act says you cannot. The parents cannot waive the rights of a minor. Next paragraph: invitation to treat, trespass. Now, Tony Tower advances. That would be an assault, and that would be an issue, except he advanced and then grabbed the person. So remember that they're mutually exclusive. So if I'm assaulting, like as I'm swinging towards you, I'm assaulting you, but it's irrelevant because I punch you, then battery is the issue. Okay. Defense of the battery, reasonable force to expel a trespasser. I don't think anybody got that. Battery, Daphne beating Tower, self-defense, no problem. Negligence. Okay, Daphne swings her purse and hits Barry Bystander, is that who it is? Bernice Bystander. That is not a battery. Okay, go to the definition. The merest unconsented to intentional touching of another. She didn't even intend to touch Bernice. So obviously that is negligence, okay, because you shouldn't be swinging a purse. And so many people said negligence, but you didn't say duty, breach, and damages, so you didn't get the additional 2 marks. Carol, clumsy, trips and falls. You could put negligence there. The trouble is if you do, you're going to miss marks because it's occupier's liability. She's an invitee, and you have to remove dangers of which you ought to be aware. Contributory, Carol is... Oh, I should back up. You see the warning sign in the parking lot. Oh my gosh, okay, well I'm going to ignore that. You're totally correct, that's negligence. It's just not an issue at law. I'm negligent, I didn't look at it. Who do I sue? Oh, I'll sue myself. Oh, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so that's not negligence, all right, at law. Now, battery, grabbing Gary, false imprisonment, pretty straightforward. Public nuisance. This isn't a public place. This is a business. Number 1, so that's wrong. Private nuisance. Oh, that was a nuisance. Yes, but it's not a private nuisance because it has to interfere with the use and enjoyment of the property on an ongoing basis. Like, you just gunshot outside. I'm going to sue that person nuisance. No, you can't. Okay, but if the person's just going, then it becomes a nuisance. The next one was all sorts of marks there. I thought I'd taken that paragraph out of my exam when I saw it in there. I thought, oh no. Rude pushes, battery. Darren hits Rude, battery. Self-defense because Rude pushed him so he doesn't know what's going on. And then Mrs. Rude throws the slushy in Darren's face. How can that be an assault? Oh, I had an apprehension of it actually being hit by it. So obviously it wasn't an assault, it was a battery, okay? You could put down defense of a third party because she's trying to protect her husband in case Darren doesn't cool down. And then there's vicarious liability. I said it would be on there, and gosh, there it was. Next paragraph, the thief comes onto the property, it's trespass. Hopefully the definition was above. Then he takes the goods. That's conversion, converting the goods of another to one's own use. The operator or the security guard does not have a duty to catch the thief. Okay, he's not negligent for not catching the thief. He is negligent for crashing the go-kart into the dither's cars. Okay, next paragraph. Now here's one where some people had better be careful before they come back and seek additional marks, because a lot of people said, okay, this is a situation, and I'm talking about the $499 computer. This is not a mail rule. This is not a unilateral contract. She saw it on the website. She used her card. She paid for it. That's not a unilateral contract. Okay, it's a bilateral contract. I promise to give you the computer if you promise to give me the money. Here's the money. There's the computer. Okay, it's a bilateral contract. And when I didn't have my marking guide, and I was on the ferry coming home, and I said, oh yeah, mail rule, yeah, of course. And then and 1 mark for saying the mail rule correctly, and 1 mark for saying unilateral contract. And I did a number of those, and if you come back at me and say, well, I need a markup here, be careful, because I'll look at that and I'll say, oh no, I was wrong. All right. So just be careful about that. So what we have is a bilateral contract. Acceptance and consideration is taken care of. Revocation must be communicated before acceptance, so it's too late. Then the next paragraph, can Darren sue on the waiver of, or because of the damage to his car, because he signed the waiver? Well, there's 2 issues here. But the key one here is it's past consideration. I paid to enter the park and I signed the waiver, and then suddenly there's another rule. Hey, I'm extending your contract with a new term. Well, the money paid cannot be consideration to bind him to the either the waiver or seeing the sign. Okay. And then the next one, seals. Seals must be affixed at the time or before the contract is signed. A seal, the definition is it's your act and deed, but the legal principle is that the seal must be attached at the time of before the contract is signed. Now, so obviously there's no seal in the document, so maybe the customer can sue. Unfortunately, if you have a waiver and you read it and you see the risks and you don't sign the waiver, or the waiver's invalid, you've still been told about the risks, and so valenti non fit injuria might apply. And then using your lawyer's time effectively, yes, that's an issue because they forgot to take the contract with them. On the previous one where Darren goes to see his lawyer and he said, oh, using your lawyer's time effectively, getting to your lawyer on time, there's no issue there. okay? Because if he had failed to get to the lawyer on time, then then it would be an issue. And you think, oh well, no, he signed a waiver before, seeing his lawyer. Waivers are used so often out in real life, and and there's no time to go and talk to a lawyer. I'm going to go skiing. Here's the waiver. Oh, here's the liability. Well, I'm not going to go skiing today. I'm going to go and get my lawyer, and we're going to look at this contract. No, waivers are most often signed without legal advice. And if that sounds a little harsh, just remember that there were 55 marks in this, and so you should have been able to get some marks elsewhere. Okay, and the other thing is, 2 people got 40. Okay, and a couple of them could have gotten, or they could have gotten 42, 47 because they just did so many. But it's only worth 40. So I was marking, and I got to 40 and I stopped. Okay, so good on you. And I wish I had the names. I do, however, want to say, Neela, you got 91%. I think that was my highest mark. Hassan in section 01 got 90. Sean got 86, and there were some others too. And I apologize for not being able to say kudos to all of you. But this year there were more A's than ever, and I thank you for that. And I look forward to getting to do some Zooms with those people that have done less than, or not as well as they should have. And that's all on this video. Just to remind you, the quiz is coming up on Thursday and Friday, I guess. And I don't give answer guide or last year's midterm exam, last year's quiz, because there's only a few questions to ask, and there wouldn't be any point in having a quiz. So it is open book, so there should be no excuses for not doing well. And that's all. Thank you very much.